Hello, everybody, and we are still having fun here with the interviews and lots of talks and awesome people that I keep meeting here at the GitHub Universe conference in San Francisco, California, 2024, the 10th edition. It's a mouthful, sorry. And so I came to meet, it was yesterday at the lunch event. She just came by the table and was like, hey, what do you do? And I'm like, what do you do? And I found it super interesting. So the amiga Jaclyn, am I pronouncing well?
Yes.
How do I pronounce your last name? I want there.
Siu.
Siu. Simple. I always butcher the last name, so I was like,
Okay, I
please
appreciate you asking.
save me. So super interesting. Jaclyn has an incredible background story, some things that I want her to share with the world. And well, first of all, who are you, Jaclyn? And why are you here?
Who am I? That is a billion-dollar question. My name is Jaclyn, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Starcycle. We help founders shut down their companies faster.
What?
So it's an interesting story, but the long story short is that this is my third company. So I've been through the ringer a couple of times, had to shut down two, and just was so taken aback by how difficult the process was, and of course emotionally difficult, right? Like nobody wants to shut down a company. Everyone starts something wanting it to go well, but unfortunately sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to. And so wanted to build something that would, perhaps be able to ease some of that administrative burden of like legal and taxes and kind of operational administrative things. And so that you're more freed up to take care of yourself and to heal, and so that you're back on the grind. And we have been doing this since this past summer, and we have been very, very lucky to help some really, really incredible folks who, have had to unfortunately say goodbye to things that they put a lot of time, heart, and soul into, but have now gone on to find new beginnings and new successes. And it's really, really just been such a privilege to be just a small part in helping them start something new again.
And that caught my attention when you first mentioned what the startup was about. I was like, wait, what, really? And then it caught up because I've been through as well, closing companies, and it's not a pretty process, like process-wise. And you explained to me as well that as soon as you start having problems, your support system is kind of gone right away, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't, some of it or a lot of it doesn't happen intentionally. Like even if it's just like you as a founder, you kind of retreat away because maybe your good friend put a small check into your company, or like you were so excited and as you should be about starting a new business, and it became such a part of your identity that to say goodbye to that part of yourself, to tell your friend who was really rooting for you that like, hey, I couldn't figure it out. And like that, a lot of people pull away from that. And I know this because I did as well. Like I retreated, and the last thing I wanted to do was tell anybody. And then there's the other side of it where a lot of service providers, they, for better or for worse, they want to focus on their clients that are doing well, right? So the second you have a client or a customer or whatever it is who isn't doing so well, it's fairly easy, or at least it happens a lot, that a lot of these same service providers tend to pull back on support because they want to focus on other folks. And you kind of end up with this perfect storm of things that need to be done, but no one wants to face it and no one wants to do it. And that's kind of why I knew from firsthand experience this was a problem that just needed to be solved.
Yeah, you are left alone with your feelings. There's an emotional turmoil that you go through. And on top of that, a bunch of paperwork, calls, and forms to file, and
God, yeah. So all of the forms. And, these aren't forms you've normally ever seen, and they're all named something incomprehensible. Like, what do you mean I need to do like 966? Like, what does that mean? Like, where did that come from? Like, and the whole process just feels, and it's very optimized. The process has existed for a very long time, but it is not one that is meant for you, right? And we just want to make it better.
No, and even some of the discussions that we were having, I'm sure that you can find information ad nauseum, a lot of information how to create But how many people write up blogs or describe the end of the process where there's no excitement and you're like, damn, I have to go through. That's where you help with, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, again, nobody wants to think about this. And I think there's also a mismatch of like, if you don't think about it, maybe it won't happen. And I think that kind of thought process is crucial for founders, right? You always have to think about the upside, because if you're not optimistic about what you're building, who is? But that same optimism turns into what you were describing, which is like, well, and then you couple that with all the shame we just described. It's like, it's hard for folks to come out and tell their story. And that's also part of something that I want to change as well, is like, I am very loud about my own process with failure and my own relationship with failure, because there's no, everyone goes through failure, right? It is really just a part of the process. It is almost a rite of passage. Everyone who has had success has had some kind of failure. And the better you build that relationship with failure, the better you become as a founder. And yeah, we want to play a small part in that.
They are there for you. They are there to help you. And you help with all the process and any emotional support as well?
That's usually me. A lot of folks, I just have so much empathy for where our clients are sitting, because I've been there not that long ago. And I think that human touch is another thing that is really important for folks that we work with, because a lot of, lawyers and CPAs, shout out to what they do, like they kind of keep society going, right? But a lot of them might not have the same types of experiences that they have with you as a founder. And usually, honestly, for a lot of the onboarding calls or like kind of the check-ins in between, that's what we usually end up talking about, is like, how are you doing? Like, as a founder, like putting all of that aside, how are you doing? Let's check in. Like, what else do you need support with? And, it's tough. And for me, it's an honor to be able to do that.
Yeah, to have someone for you on those, it's a difficult time, but important time that you need to take action. If you end up in that situation, get the service. It's super important. When I heard about what was the service that Jaclyn, the company, was going to provide, I was really excited, because it's like, no one thinks about it. And it doesn't have AI embedded, or it's like with the buzzword and anything. If you are listening to this and you're in an AI train, you may need the services and the help, right?
I mean, no one is immune, right? Like everyone, we all hope that you will succeed. And, I'm always rooting for founders and, do the thing, and just know that it is not the end of the line if it doesn't go the way you want it to. I'm living proof of this. Again, Starcycle is my third company. And it's so important to just get back up. And, and I'm so excited to see like a lot of the folks that we've been working with, a lot of them are already working on new things. And they tell us like it's such a relief to have someone take care of, the terrible parts, that they can move on to other things. And, to me, this is just like fundamentally something that is so deeply part of me. It's such a core part of my own journey and like my own healing, and also like my own relationship with failure. The way I grew up was like, you very much were required to be perfect. There's no room for error. You got to get into an Ivy League. I didn't. You got to do all the things. I really do think that the startup world is long overdue for that conversation, because there's a mantra of like, move fast and break things, and somehow
that's part of the process.
Yeah, and somehow ending an experiment or like a really, really solid run isn't really part of that move fast and break things kind of mantra. Obviously, if you're committing fraud, this does not apply to you, but generally, we want you to try again.
Yeah, I mean, keep breaking things, but when they are broken, wrap them up, get some help.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super efficient so that you can play on the next AI adventure or whatever itches your interests, entrepreneurial interests. So,
exactly.
Jaclyn, to wrap up, where can people follow up on your startup and get your services, get in touch with you?
Yeah. So it's just my first and last name across all social media, Jaclyn Siu. We are Starcycle. So Starcycle, like the star, and cycle, like bicycle, all one word. Starcycle AI. That's our handle across all platforms. Our website is starcycle.ai. Pretty straightforward. If we can help in any kind of way, even if you're like thinking about potentially having to make some hard decisions, all the way to it just has to be done and you're ready. We're here to help, and all we want to do is make sure you're set up for the next phase and reach out. Please don't be scared. I've been there. I get it, and we're here for you.
So some of tough times, get help definitely. If I did my work well, you will see here some links to their contact. And again, reach out. This is super, super important. You'll see services and companies on everything. This is the only person that I have met that is starting to help on this. So, Jaclyn, thank you very much for sharing with me and the audience.
Thank you so much. Gracias.
Oh, gracias. Danke schön. Xie xie?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay, we nailed it.
So, everybody, this is just the beginning. I hope that you took notes. Reach out to Jaclyn. Hopefully you won't need the service, but if you do, there's Jaclyn. Now, we will move on. If I do well the edition, we will have more fun and more interviews soon. So stay around, and I'll bring back more in a moment. So thank you very much. Adios. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Auf Wiedersehen, or how was it?
Auf Wiedersehen.
In Chinese?
再见.
再见, yeah.